I like what he said about discipline.
That's what I was gonna
Discipline
say.
being
That's the key.
discipline being sometimes you got to do the thing that you don't want to do. That's truly part of it. Like when he said it, I was like, "Yo, I have never heard it that way," but I 150% agree with what he said, and that goes into a lot of these conversations in which I'm sure we're going to deep dive into it here in a moment. That we hear in these spaces, like, "Yo, that was dope. That was really dope."
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with him too. I think that a truer testament to that could be like when you working on a craft, because I'm assuming it was who it was Mike Tyson and who else was on there with him? It was another
Yeah, it was. I guess he was a podcast. I don't know who he is, but go ahead.
I couldn't see who the other person was. I believe he was an athlete though, if I'm not mistaken. But that
I'm
just speaks to
mistaken.
yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Who's on first? Yeah.
He said, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, you're
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
I'm mistaken.
I couldn't tell. Was it Steven Jackson?
It might have been right.
Is it
So
really? Is it really important?
so my point behind that was this. Look, when when you hone a craft, you almost have to be like religious with doing that thing that you do. And the days when you don't want to do it is the days that you have to do it the most. It's like you commit yourself to knowing what is necessary. And the further up you get, the challenges that come to you are access, right? Because now you have access to everything you never had access to and a desire to want those things too. And to find the discipline to stay focused on the thing you want, the end goal, and not be distracted by some of the side missions is it's a very it's a hard feat to accomplish because uh, if you don't truly love what you're doing, like he was saying, you got to do the thing you love, like you got to do the thing you hate like you love it. If you don't, it's so easy to get dragged off into the opposite direction and then use those things to occupy your time, which will in turn send you down. But he was saying you got to stick with the person that brought you to the dance, meaning whatever your original passion was, original desire, that's the thing you need to make sure you focus on and hone out everything else. I think that could be done with. So like sometimes I don't have that much to offer in the conversation when we talk about child support, when we talk about breakups, because I really only know how to make this shit work. That's the only way my mind, like my plan A and plan B is the same plan. You know what I'm saying? Let's just make this shit work, right? So when you get into that stage, I feel like you stay with the person that you brought to the dance, right? Y'all started this together to have these kids, or you started this family. Ideally, you did it responsibly, and it wasn't a one night stand term pregnancy. But stay with that person. You figured out a way when you didn't have kids to make that shit work for y'all to continue to have sex. Now you have a way more important piece of your life that's right there, right? So all the concessions you made to get some sex, you can make them same type of concessions to make that relationship work, or put the work in required to get the type of relationship you want in order to move forward. But I think people pick and choose what's the most important thing to them, and then don't really realize that they decisions are shown through the act that they did. They may not have valued the kid, they may not have valued the family, and
Right.
put up a facade like they did care about those things, when in reality the actions that you did not support that claim.
Marcus, can I ask you one quick question?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's something that you said that was very poignant and what made me think about it. So you said that is in terms of for I guess you're speaking from the side of a man to make their situation work, to put in that work, right? My question to you is, and you don't have to answer because it's kind of personal, but it's general. In the time that you and your wife were together, would you say that she's changed from when you first met her?
think I think she's changed in the sense that I've changed because she's grown with me to like mold into whatever the person I am at that time needs. So,
Mm.
and I think like in general or for anybody else, like when you put the work in a relationship and lay a strong foundation, then you all mesh well together. And through that meshing, you get to know each other and grow. As long as you determine to try and make it work. Because somebody told me this a long time ago. No two people are together that don't have a reason not to be together. Your reason to be together just got to be stronger than your reason not to be together. And I don't think
Mm.
it's a better reason than kids, honestly.
Yeah, the reason I asked you that is because I think that that's part of the issue, not just with men, but with women too, is the expectation that they're not going to change. Or sometimes they change and they're like, I don't like this new version of you, or I want the old version, which in life, people change. But point being is that from what you were saying is that even though those changes were made, you guys understood that you had a greater purpose and you made the adjustments in order to stay together. And I think in general that's probably why there's so many divorces. And especially I would say even on like how people always say women are the ones that initiate the divorce, is that part of it is not seeing what there is, to find what the goal to hold on to keep you married. So I was just curious to, that was kind of off, but go ahead. Thank you for answering that.
Definitely off, but go ahead.
Sorry. My mind just be going sometimes, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Did you have
yeah, so I want to jump in on the video. I don't know if y'all have read the book Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. So he talks about how the devil will keep you in your comfort zone in order for you to just kind of loop, right? So that point of elevation requires a certain level of like discomfort, of independent thought, of challenging what you believe is possible, right? And so in the book, the way that it's explained is like, in order for you to reach that level, you really not only have to fight your inner demons, but you also, I think Mistaken touched on it earlier, you gotta also like understand that people around you are going to also suck you into staying in your comfort zone by continuing to see you as the version of yourself that you have been, right? And so part of it is psychological, part of it is spiritual, and part of it is like habit, right? The people who attain the highest levels of success, no matter how it is that you define it, whether it's religious practice, whether it's honing a craft, whether it's making their mark in society, you have to be so focused on that thing and not allow anything or anyone to distract you from it in all aspects of life, right? Something as simple as like eating properly, limiting your time watching television, surrounding yourself by people who have a growth mindset, right? Like there's so much that goes into it that I think to a lot of people, it's just too much work. It's too much work to get to that place. And I think that's why a lot of people don't ever attain the success that they desire, because they're not willing to put in that work and make the sacrifices to cut out everything that would become a distraction, right? And I think that's what he was talking about, when God chooses you and calls you to a path, the devil goes just as hard, because the level of work you have to put in to fulfill your commitment to what God has set you on requires everything you've got, like everything. And I think a lot of people just aren't willing to do it because it's you'd rather be comfortable,